thinking about where they came from. Humans, however, can rise to the occasion and notice causality and use their intelligence to trace back that concept to a source. And how's that meaningful? Because one of the first teachings of the ancient wisdom literatures goes like this in Sanskrit: Atato Brahma Jignasa, which means that you have the power to ask bigger questions than the squirrels do. Squirrels are reactive to their environment and limited by their intelligence, which is not fully developed. Whereas human beings have this ability to appreciate that there must be something more to life and to aspire for it. Now, practice itself is something that is human-like, and that we can take it upon ourselves to improve. I find that to be exhilarating. And waking up in the morning when I become fully cognizant, and I realize it's another opportunity to make improvement, I feel excited about that opportunity. Now, the practice of Bhakti and self-improvement in the department of yoga, as Krishna talks about in the Bhagavad Gita, also includes incremental improvement. In fact, Krishna talks about this in the Gita when he describes the ways in which we can become more inwardly confident. Confident of what? Confident of our own integrity and our abilities to evaluate what's happening to us in the world and to notice that it is happening for a reason, and to be in harmony with that reason that it's happening brings us to a sense of balance in our life, and we can make progress. On a mechanical level, when Krishna talks about meditation, also known as dhyan yoga, dhyan is a beautiful word. It comes from the word dhi, D-H-I, in Sanskrit, which means to be fully absorbed in something. I don't know about you, but when I'm able to fully absorb my mind in something that's worthy, that is maybe reading a book or writing something that is helping me to process what I've been going through and what I'm thinking, I feel a natural sense of satisfaction. And there are higher and higher levels of satisfaction according to where we absorb our minds and intelligences. And in Dhyan Yoga, we're pointed in the wisdom literatures like Bhagavad Gita to an ultimate object of meditation, our source, Krishna. And by learning how to keep our attention fixed on that ultimate object of meditation, we discover ourselves. It's kind of like when the sun comes up in the morning, you not only see the sun, but you also see yourself, because we're not self-luminous, but the sun is, and it illuminates everything. So the idea behind the practice of bhakti is to find that ultimate object of meditation and practice daily, bringing your mind back to that ultimate object. And by our direct experience with the results of that, we become encouraged. And so I'll talk a little bit about that today. My talk today, in thinking about it, it's something I wrote about a while back, but I expanded on it a little bit, but not that much, is subtle. It may seem like something you've heard before, but I find that for anyone who's interested in self-improvement, hearing daily about incremental improvement is necessary, because there's a tendency to become overwhelmed too many things happening all at once, and hard to have enough perspective to understand where we are, how we're making improvements. And so remembering a couple of things. One is that all we can do is all we can do, but all we can do is enough. And if you take daily steps and make incremental improvements, and you think about it daily, and then you can go back to hourly, moment by moment, it keeps us happily engaged in a worthy pursuit and a feeling satisfaction in our lives. So let's just take a moment anyway, before we go into the topic much deeper, just to let go of a few thoughts. Why don't you try sitting up a little straighter than you were a second ago? I'm not saying you're not sitting up straight. I'm not making a value judgment here. I'm just saying, try it. I'm going to do it too. And I'm going to play you some soothing music. And all you have to do is close your eyes and relax for a minute. That's not so bad. How could that be bad? Okay, I'm changing my audio to accommodate the beautiful sounds. And here we go. Please close your eyes. Don't be a human doing. Be a human being. Being what means to be means that which remains when everything else changes. And the body's changing, the mind's changing, but you're not. Whatever you think you are, you can let it go right now. And be in your breath. And be appreciative for the fact that you've been given the greatest gift, a boat that can take you to the other side of all the changing, bewildering circumstances of this world, into steady fixity in the self. You can count your breaths and stay fixed on the sensation that I'm alive. And now I want you to meditate on a 2-syllable word. Then I'm going to speak, and then you can see it in your mind's eye. Hare. It's Hare. You can see the syllables and say Hare. And now watch how you can paint with your mind by hearing the 2 syllables and seeing them in your mind's eye. Krishna. And the 3rd word, Rama. And in the practice of Bhakti Yoga, we connect to divine syllables, divine sounds, which transform the mind. This is called mantra. Just be aware that you can retreat to reality and become aware that you're something more than the body, and you're in connection with your original divine source, Krishna, at every moment. And you can become aware of that connection by saying these syllables in your mind or pronouncing them with your voice, breath, and lips and tone. And now, come back to your breath, open your eyes, and how's everybody today? I better think of a better question. Name one thing that you did today that you're happy about. Our operators are standing by to take your calls.
Well said.
Did you say
Oh,
food?
Kota cleaned his living room. I love that. Doesn't it change your whole day when you clean your room? It's one of the sciences of Krishna consciousness, of Bhakti Yoga, that there's these modalities we live around. And when you clean your room, then you may notice that you elevate your consciousness simultaneously. So we should be clean as a bean. Beans are really clean if you look at them. And make sure that your life, your room, your bed, definitely make your bed in the morning, make it a ritual to make it as nice as possible. Your words, what you eat should be clean as a bean. Okay, let's see what else. Jam, we got a lot of nice stuff here.
Yeah, Phil came on. Phil, do you want to maybe say what you want to say before I read from the chat box?
It's all good. I wrote it down. I thought we were going to verbally say what we were out there, but my morning routine, which I'm keeping up, I'm happy with. So yeah.
What did you keep up?
My morning routine, like getting up at 6 o'clock,
Yeah, yeah,
listening to
that's
my Hare
fantastic.
Krishna music and stuff like that. So
That's a big deal.
yeah.
Yeah, we can look at our lives and see how we come out of the blocks. Kind of a track and field metaphor. That's one of the determinants of how well you do. And I would just say how you feel when you run in a race, when you come out of the block strong. So morning is a proving ground. How do we wake up? What do we do? And way to go, Phil. Sherelle,
Hare Krishna. Uh, attended a japa online meditation this morning and kind of took a different approach in the mood, like just going in there with no preconceived ideas of what the japa was going to be like. Um, and really immersed and connected in really well, and I just didn't want to stop chanting. So yeah, I went in with like no idea of how it was going to be and I ended up chanting for an hour. So yeah, just the mood that I approached the japa with, I'm grateful for.
way to go, Sherelle. That's a true sign of absorption, is when you don't want to stop. I mean, kids play and you say, come home, they don't want to come home. And in spiritual practice, especially meditation, when you forget what time it is, or when the time is done, when you're supposed to finish, and you feel like you want to keep going, it's a really nice feeling, isn't it? That you have that reserve within you that is pushing you to do more. You're not dragging, you're being pushed by it. Oh, thank you for sharing that. Jane, what else
Yeah,
do we have on the big board?
we have quite a few coming in. Janki says ran a mile.
Whoa, a mile. Fantastic. That's amazing.
So,
Uh, yeah, running a mile. That's, you know what it reminds me of, running the mile? It's something I was obsessed with when I was a kid. Because my hero was Jim Ryan, and he was a under 4 minute miler. But I remember the story about how he ran Robert Roger Bannister. He was an English fellow. He ran a mile in under 4 minutes, first time ever in recorded history. And the amazing thing was that, well, let me say first what the amazing thing wasn't, that he did it. Because, well, that was kind of amazing because everyone said it couldn't be done. And there was no record of anyone running under 4 minutes in a mile. But then when Roger Bannister, he was a doctor and he trained for it and he beat the 4 minute barrier. But the amazing thing is, after he did it, it became commonplace. Everybody started doing it. You could see a lot of what we do, what we practice for, what we think our limitations are based on a collective psychology. If other people can't do it, then I can't do it. Spiritual life is kind of a departure from that. is saying, no, I have opportunity to rise to my highest potential, which is way higher than I might even be able to conceive right now. And if we're aware of others that are doing that and we hear about that and we make incremental progress towards it, that's an exhilarating life. You can't get any better than that. It's fully satisfying. Oh, look at this. Lavanya has something here, JM.
Yeah, Lavanya says she took a LinkedIn course on self-awareness.
Wow, that's fantastic. I'm glad LinkedIn's doing that. Can you say one thing that you took away from the class that you could share with us?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu. One of the important things they taught in the class is about being mindful, being present, and then actually speaking correctly to the right audience.
Nice. Well, all of those in and of themselves are practices that lift all aspects of our life. Our speech, definitely, and being mindful. In every situation, we can remain equipoised. Thank you very much. Okay, Nama.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Nama
you.
said, join this session.
Oh, I see. Nama. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm happy to join this session. That's one thing I'm grateful for. Thank you.
That's the thing you were saying, that you were the thing that you're, what did I say, happiest about today?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Well, that makes us happy. Okay, Asta.
Asa says, I took a trip to the mountains this weekend.
Which mountains?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Yeah. I actually went for a spiritual retreat with devotees from ISKCON Calgary, and it was amazing. We went to a place in British Columbia, Golden, and there were like beautiful, beautiful mountains. I think it's the Banff Mountains that start from Banff itself. It's just the whole family of mountains. It was an amazing retreat. I just can't get over it. Like, it was so, so nice.
Are they 14ers?
Yeah, for adults.
No, are the mountains 14ers? So he's saying Colorado. There's a hobby people have in Colorado. They see how many mountains that are 14,000 miles, 14,000? 1,400 miles? 14,000 feet, sorry, high that they climb.
No, they weren't that high.
All right.
Pretty normal. Yeah, they weren't that high, but it was nice. I just blinked my eyes and I can see the beautiful views, and it was amazing.
I saw the Himalayas. We were flying over, and the captain said, look out to your left side, and we looked, and it went on for a long time, and it was breathtaking. Fantastic, the mountains. Okay, Phil already said his morning routine. Mayura said,
Woke up full 2 hours before my first meeting, which is 5 a.m.
did you find it productive?
Well, I was focused on the meeting because I had a chance to get myself sorted. So, yes, it felt good.
At that time of day, you could get so much done, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I love that time of day too. Fantastic. Yeah,
Monica,
it's an old yogi trick. Get up way before the sun, before everyone's moving around, before any distractions, and it's as if you get 2 full days, because that time you have with no distraction and full absorption in the matter at hand gives you an extra day. Okay, go ahead, JM.
Monica said, studied in the park with sunshine.
Ooh, that's fantastic. You have a park near you? Oh, you do? It's Monica. Okay, yeah. In San Francisco?
Yes, Dolores Park, just up the street. So it was nice and
Fantastic.
sunny.
It's just so civilized to have parks. You know,
Yes.
when municipalities overbuild and they forget that there are humans living there, it's a shame. But parks, I always love it. I always think humanity, parks and libraries. And if you get into the park, catch the sun, do you do that deliberately to get the sun in your eyes and, restart your circadian rhythms?
Yes.
I
Yes.
love doing that too. I always try to make sure I greet the sun when it's just coming up. Life changing. Can change your life in one day. Okay, Mekala.
Mekla says, I tended my roses and took a walk.
Now, where are these roses that you have, Mekala?
My front yard.
How
Yeah.
fortunate are you to have a front yard with roses?
Yes. Thank you. It's really
Fantastic.
nice.
Big fan of roses myself. If I could pick up my computer and take you out in the backyard, I did it a long time ago, but I can't do it anymore because I have a new setup. But a lot of roses blooming right now. And it's always amazing to me to look at the flowers and just think, hey, what is their purpose? I mean, the bees love them. They go in there, but there's so much beauty in the creation around us. It could have just all been gray, but it's multicolored, multifaceted. Yeah, and tended the roses. The best fertilizer is the gardener's shadow. You all know that one? Means that if you're giving attention to your garden, then it'll likely thrive. Same thing with all our relationships in our life. Look, Negan's here.
Go ahead, Nagin.
Actually, I have a question also. Maybe from the time I'm in the Bhakti community and after that, always I had a list to pursue and I start doing it. I'll take before I was in yoga very seriously, but I stopped it. I started again. And also I trying to do meditation everywhere, one round of mala. And the Ayurveda always, I like it. I took the small class about knowing that. But the problem I have is I'm doing it every day. I try, but keep doing it to keep my, become till it become as a habit. Would you give me something I can help me with keep doing it? Because I'm going. For example, for the meditation, I'm doing every day, even if I'm not going to bed. When going to bed, sometimes I say no, I didn't do it. I wake up to doing it that round of the meditation and go back. But it's much harder when it's past the time. Every day I need to push myself again to doing it. How can I make it easier to build the habit?
Well, what an important question, huh? Maybe if I can answer this question, I'll solve all the problems of life. Because I think everybody struggles with this. And I can just tell you, and of course, the slides today will be somewhat about that, but I can give you a few of my thoughts. I wrote something for myself as a guidance for how to make a comeback, because I realized that my mind and the way the world works is constantly changing. I changed a lot of things in my life over time, and then there's transition periods to go through when I'm changing. What I want to do today, tomorrow my mind may reject. And so I learned how to gracefully make a comeback. I think some of the times, speaking from my own perspective to answer your question, one of the reasons I might start something then stop it is because I'm afraid to make a comeback. I think, well, if I couldn't do it steadily for long enough, maybe it's not worth doing at all. But one of the considerations in what I was thinking about and what we'll talk about today is the cumulative effect of doing something, and that even if you're faulty and you are not able to do it steadily, the more times you learn how to bring yourself back to the practice and not be overwhelmed by the fact that you weren't able to do it contiguously, then the more likely you are to be able to continue. And there's there's a thought that comes to me frequently. It's not an original thought. I heard it from someone else, but I keep it with me constantly. And that is, just because I can't do everything that I want to do doesn't mean that I shouldn't do anything. And so if you're able to somehow or other keep moving, even if it's in the tiniest way, and keep the momentum, then you're likely to be able to develop strength over time to do what you want to do. It's the miracle of being a human. The other answers have to do with surrounding yourself with an environment in which you give yourself the best advantage. Because if we, for instance, I'll just tell you a practice I have, and that is the things that I want to do, I keep closest to me. I always have them with me, in fact. Those who know me know I always carry a bag. In fact, I have it right here. It's hanging right on my desk. I never go anywhere without my bag. And in my bag, I have what I need to keep going. For instance, these are verses I'm learning. It's in a little pouch, and I have, this is like Mr. Rogers or something. I have everything that I am working on set in order on my desk right now. The books I want to make progress on, they're marked. So when I wake up in the morning, I see them there and I get enthusiastic about it. If they're out of sight, they're out of mind. And so, yeah, there's this football team that was really successful back in the 80s. Give a sports analogy. And they used to script their first 10 plays that they would do. I'm talking about American football. Coach would script this, so they didn't have to call a play. They already knew what the first 10 were going to be. And so when they'd start the game, as soon as they got the ball, they just go through the 10. And having that kind of script when you get up in the morning, like Phil's talking about, he's doing. He has his spiritual music set up. You know, the turntable there with the disc. You guys use records, right? A turntable and a little disc. You don't use that? How about 8-track? Cassette tape? Whatever it is, line it up so that you have the best advantage. So when you are in the situation that you could go the other way and think of something, do something else, that thing's so close to you that you just push the button and you don't leave any gap for your mind to go somewhere else. That's why people live in ashrams. Ashrams life is like that. Everything's focused on doing your sadhana, your practice. So that's how you transform your car into an ashram. Your car should be a place where you learn everything about spiritual practice. Have that sound vibration in your car, have everything ready. When you travel, when you walk out the door, make sure you have everything with you in your hand or in your bag. A lot of sadhus, you know, people who practice spiritual life intensely, they carry a little bag. If you ask them what's in the bag, they'll show you. They're carrying around the stuff they're learning all the time. Plus they might have a couple of lemons or limes or something like that. And that way they never leave a gap. It's kind of a fun game to play, is to just stay in the vibration as much as possible all day long. Those are a few, you know.
What does the lemon do for them in their bag?
No, I like lemons. I've always liked them. I like limes better. But even when I was a brahmachari, I had a little cloth bag. I carried the verses I was learning and whatever book I was reading. Plus, I always had a few lemons or limes and a little Swiss Army knife, because not everybody knows the glories of lemons. And everybody knows I like lemons. I grow them in my yard, limes especially. And I always have them on hand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're very healthy. Besides, I think it's the most beautiful fruit in the world. If you look at a lime, what a sublime color that is. I can't stop looking at them. They're so beautiful, and the taste is exhilarating. Sherelle.
Yeah, I just have to share this story because lemons have a lot of spiritual significance for me. When I got some really tragic news about my daughter's health, I was complete atheist. I said, if you exist, God, you need to show me you exist. And I drink lemon water in the morning. And this morning I was like in my ensuite when I had it, and normally I'm in my lounge. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. I've got my lemon water in the ensuite today. And then I picked my affirmation card for the day, and it was very significant. And I turned it around, and they were aromatherapy cards, and it was lemon. And then my brother passed away tragically, and when we went to his house, my dad came up with a lemon in his hand, and he said, oh, this was at the site where Darren was found. And then just before I had my heart attack, my daughter brought some affirmation cards into me, and she was like, oh, do you want to pick one? Because she was trying to distract me, and they were about colors. And I picked the card, and it was lemon. It wasn't yellow, it was lemon. So every time I've had big things going on, the lemon is like a spiritual sign for me that Krishna's like arranged this. So, and funnily enough, when we were kids, we got sent a tin of lemons from our grandma for Christmas. Like, it's just, yeah, beyond the mind.
Well, finally, I found somebody else who has lemons on their mind all the time.
Krishna.
Thank you for sharing that, Sherelle. I'm unabashedly attached to lemons and limes. Well, look, Yasmin's here. Where is Yasmin? She shared
Yasmin,
something up there. Go ahead.
she follows the yogis in the Himalayas and says, Hari Bol. Great question. Today I visited a great friend, and your shared time was joyful. And our shared time was joyful.
That's the best, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, close friends are rare in this world, and to have that opportunity to spend time with friends is edifying. In fact, it's one of the main practices of bhakti. Is mentioned in this beautiful little book that was written over 500 years ago by the great teacher of bhakti named Rupa Goswami. He lived very simply, and he wrote many, many very deep books. And in the primer that tells you how to practice bhakti, he included a verse that talks about friendship. And he said it's one of the most important aspects of bhakti, to share friendship with those who are also like-mindedly practicing. In it, he talks about breaking bread together, sharing lunch, food, exchanging gifts, and also revealing one's mind. And this is one of the ways that we remain steady in our practice as well, in that by hearing from others and feeling like sound and what people say, it carries their consciousness. And when we associate with people that are high-minded, that are practicing more deeply than we are, then just by talking to them, having friendship with them, breaking bread with them, we come away edified and feeling more enthusiastic than we were before. So he said this is the glue that holds us together in our practice of bhakti. Make good friends in bhakti. Okay, look we have Radhakripa here too.
Yeah,
the list is growing longer too, JM.
Yes. Radhakripa, go ahead. I saw you came on.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think what I was sharing that I did some event last week, and then I shared that about event, how good it was with my family members. That gave me a lot of happiness. And I was just connecting it back that what was it actually? How did it all originate? And then I was thinking there's a common thread in that all my wife's friends, they were all together. They wanted to take the picture. That seeing that moment, how collect. But the common thread in that was that they have a common goal, which they wanted to be in Krishna consciousness, So I was feeling happy how that tiny connection is bringing us together. And when that happiness made me happy, when I shared my family members, they were happy with it. So just thought to share.
It's the small things that make a difference, right?
Yep.
And going from small things to big things, we have the Rocky Mountains from Amit. I lived in Denver. I know the Rockies. They're fantastic. Just watching them is very grounding. That almost sounds cliche. Nama praised Negan's question and said, great question. Nama said, line up everything the night before. I agree. Samskruti said, this is so inspiring that, thank you. James Clear talks about similar things in his book, Atomic Habits. Need to carry a bag of motivation with me too. James Clear, what a appropriate name. He thinks so clearly, and he gives these little pieces of advice that you can just, if you just take the one sentence he gives, you can carry it around everywhere. James Clear also says in Atomic Habits that one way to develop a new habit is to put yourself in an environment where the habit is a norm. Ashram. So much resonance with the principles of Bhakti Yoga. Does everybody know the word ashrama? I'll tell you about it. In America we say ashram, but ashrama. Shrama means wasting time. It means scrolling. It means doing random stuff that doesn't make any difference. In Sanskrit, when you put an A in front of a word, it generally reverses the meaning. So when you say ashrama, you're saying that you're doing the opposite of wasting time. You're using every resource that you have in your human form of life for the highest purpose. So when you transform your house or your car or your brain into an ashrama, then you have no more shrama. In fact, there's this admonition in the wisdom literature called Srimad Bhagavatam, Shrama evahi kevalam. Surely it's a complete waste of time when you don't focus your mind on the ultimate purpose of life. Okay, ashrama. Now we have a few slides. Thanks for sharing, because sharing means caring. My Mridanga teacher. That's not me, by the way, that picture. Learning there. But I have a great Mridanga teacher. Mridanga is that drum that they're both holding there. And I've played it since 1973. Less frequently now, because there's so many young people around that are so much better at it. I just hand it over to them. But for me, it's been a lifelong love affair of learning the drum. And my Mridanga teachers taught me so many things. I mean, the discipline of learning drum and also studying music, I find parallel with spiritual practice and also therapeutic. So one of the mantras that my teacher gave me once was, always try to be better than before. Let's see a show of hands here. How many of you have ever taken a music lesson of any kind? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Isn't it compulsory that you have to learn either piano or clarinet when you're a kid? Something. Anyways, teacher always said, when I was a kid, you at least practice half an hour a day, otherwise you're wasting my time and yours. And my teacher's teacher told my teacher, who told me, you should always go to your next lesson a little bit better than before. That was so inspiring to me, to think about how would I become a little bit better than I was at the last meeting with my teacher. And it motivated me so much, pushed me so hard, and still does in every aspect. There's something to look forward to. It's the human experience of practice, which I've mentioned before, squirrels can't do. They don't know how to practice. They are impelled by their inner nature to be squirrely. And when we take up a simple, demanding standard, keep it simple, but be a little demanding on ourselves. This is called tapasya. Tapasya means make a little heat, some benign discomfort. That's when we make advancement. and dedicate ourselves to a worthy practice. First, vet the practice, make sure it's taking you where you want to go, and make sure you're doing it correctly, and be sincere, and you can expect progress. That makes us happy. When we're making progress, we feel naturally satisfied. If we fritter away our time, waste it on anti-practice, those things would just seek so-called comfort. They put us in more anxiety, mindlessly doing something that doesn't help us to move forward. Now, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't take breaks and be mindful. I'm just saying there are bad habits that are parallel with eating junk food. We all know the science of eating. If you eat junk, then your body will feel unfit. But if you eat healthy, good food, then you'll feel fit. So same way, if you have good practice and you take in the best of information, then you'll notice it. The reaction will be there. So the teacher who moves us forward with this admonition, come back to me better than before, keeps the high standard. This is one of the tenets of Bhakti Yoga, is to live in this state of practice. Yep. Okay. So, devotional life isn't static. Does anybody know what static means? Well, I'll tell you. Lacking movement, action, or change, especially in a way viewed as undesirable or uninteresting. Concerned with bodies at rest or forces in equilibrium. Static. So, Bhakti Yoga, practice of devotional life, isn't static, it's active. Everything that we're doing can be used in practice. All mistakes that we make can be used as part of our practice. Like composting. I read a book during the pandemic, said the title of the book was Compost Everything. And this author claimed that in due course of time, everything will decay and turn into something usable. And so small, steady improvements compound in our life. And keeping the concept, very much like what you mentioned, James Clear, the atomic habits, a little bit builds countable spiritual momentum. So this is one of the ways in which we can stay steady, is to remember the practice principle, which in Sanskrit is called Sankhya Purvaka. And Sankhya means to count something. Sankhya Purvaka together means spiritual strength. To keep a regular daily practice, and regular means you count it. So when we're doing, for instance, chanting of mantras, you count them. And make sure that you're staying steady and try to make little improvements like climbing a ladder. Whenever you have your foot on the rung, then you can step up to the next level. The accelerator principle. There's a principle in physics called accelerating acceleration. Means the faster you go, the faster you can go. And as we make progress in our practice, there are favorable breezes. As the wisdom literature Srimad Bhagavatam puts it, we can expose ourselves to favorable breezes. It's in a verse that says that the human body is a boat, and the boat is meant to cross the ocean of birth and death. And it's a sailboat. So the favorable breezes come from our practice. So when we apply the practice principle, we get those favorable breezes. But then there's an inner accelerator also, because we're not alone. There's the presence of the supersoul with us all the time. This is vital to remember. Spiritual practice is not something in isolation. First of all, as I mentioned before, we have association with others, and then we also have the presence of the Supreme Spirit within our heart, called Supersoul or Paramatma. And so we get inner help. And there's a dispelment of darkness when we practice that's so encouraging. It comes from the light that we get within ourselves. So there's this cycle of progress, especially focusing day by day in a plodding way, remembering that you can only capture the moment and give attention to what's important today. Don't worry about tomorrow or what happened in the past. And as my drum teacher, Madunga teacher, used to tell me, go slow so you can go fast. Means he noticed in me and many of his other students, he said it was quite common that you try to speed up too soon on a drum beat, and then you make mistakes. And then if you practice that, you'll keep making the mistakes. He said, go at the speed that you can do now without making a mistake. You can try this in reading sometime. You can notice there's a pace. I just finished doing an audiobook, and I realized that I can't read. I have to be very aware of how fast I'm going and how I'm enunciating each word. Luckily, there's an engineer sitting in the other booth who, if I make a mistake, we just go back and do it over again. You get do-overs when you do that. But I noticed going at a pace that I can handle. And I do this with kids. I have a couple of forums where I work with young people. And when we read passages back and forth, I always say, only go as fast as you can go without stumbling on any word. Quite a challenge when you think about it. So we also, in our cycle of progress, go at the pace you can go. And give attention to what's most important today. So it's helpful to remember which things are most important and keep them at the top of your list. That goes to the Stephen Covey admonition that keep the main thing the main thing. Okay? Also, take shelter. Don't try to go it alone. We talked, didn't we, a little earlier about mentorship, or was that just me thinking to myself? I know, I heard a podcast earlier of somebody that's very dear to me, and that person was talking about mentorship. And it's common that, well, let me just say something about good mentors. Good mentors can give us attention, and they can listen to us and help us process things. They don't simply tell us their experience, and like Stephen Covey says, somebody comes and said, my eyesight is going down a little bit, and then they say, well, here, just take my glasses. But they listen and they help to give us perspective of where we are. So a mentor is an assessor and helps to push us forward by giving us clarity about where we are right now and gives us strength beyond our own. So this is the principle in the practice of bhakti, is to have strong mentorship with those that help you see where you are and can gently point out where there's room for improvement so that we can find that place. And this is what is called the guru principle. It's throughout the ancient wisdom literatures. Literally, in Sanskrit, guru means heavy, And it also means a person who can help shine light on our situation so we can see what to do. But we can't go it alone. So the Bhakti standard, hear wisdom with sincere seekers. This means get together like we're doing here on a regular basis and hear, have discussion about the topics. And also be in a trusting environment where you feel safe so you can reveal your heart and mind. My wife and I had programs at our house here in Burlingame for 18 years. And they were small because we have fairly small space here. But it was very meaningful because everyone would come back, and most people were working, but they'd come to the program. It was one day a week. And everyone wanted to process what they were going through in their life. Everyone's going through something. And we do it in a safe context where, no one was trying to hijack the agenda, but everyone was being sincerely attentive and sticking to the standard of the spiritual standard of taking guidance from the wisdom literatures and from those who were able to give mentorship. And it was palpable how healing it was. So this is part of the bhakti process. You can be a little bit better just by a good association. So one of the teachings is get yourself there, put yourself in that environment as much as possible. Live as close as you can to that so it's not a hard thing to do to get there, and it gives you a great advantage. Here's a few practical takeaways about being better than before. Choose one area to improve this week. Why not? Sometimes we think of it at the end of the year, but you can stop at every interval and say, what about this week? You can declare it. What would you like to get better at? Somebody say something. Put it in the chat. Put one thing in the chat you want to get better at this week. Cleaning. This is National Cleaning Week. You can get a little badge and wear it around and tell everybody it's National Cleaning Week. What are you doing? And you can also have, it's a National Wake Up Early Week or National Sleeping on Time Week. I started this program called World Enlightenment Day because there were all these initiatives being executed. It was about 20 years ago. So I made this whole thing, and it went on for almost 20 years. And I made badges for everybody, and then we went out and did things like we distributed Bhagavad Gitas to people. It was a global initiative. And I was down in the Haight-Ashbury distributing Bhagavad Gitas. And this young person walked up and saw my badge, and I said, it's World Enlightenment Day. He goes, why didn't anybody tell me? So I'm just saying you can start your own international day. Who's to say you can't? So do it in your own life. Choose one area in your life to improve, and then strengthen your mentor connection. Find somebody who can assist you in making an improvement this week. And then nothing moves without divine sacrifice. This is called tapo divyam. What a great phrase to remember. Get a tattoo if you have a tattoo parlor. Tapo means sacrifice. Divyam means divine. Everyone's making sacrifice. Don't sacrifice for stupid stuff. Sacrifice for a divine cause. And then that's where you get real happiness. Divine sacrifice. Tapo divyam. Mayur is going to give you a wake-up call at 5 a.m., everybody, if you just give your number. Okay, last, assess yourself. Am I better than before? Try to have a date from which you're stopping to assess how you're doing. Was I better? Am I better now than I was before? And finally, closing thought, honest forward movement is satisfying. Make sure that the ladder is connected to the right window before you start climbing up it. And once it is, make steady progress. And that gives true joy in life. The end, or as they say in Japan, ijo desu. So let's see if you have any comments or thoughts, because you got 3 whole minutes. And thanks, so many of you are here showing your effulgences, keeping your cameras on. If you can't have your camera on, I totally understand that too. Yeah, what are you thinking? What are you taking away? I need 3 things, otherwise nobody can go home.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj.
Asta? Huh?
Hello, Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Yeah. The one thing that I'm taking away, which you mentioned, is that I think you mentioned if we just do what we need to do, that is enough, which kind of resonated with me because in my mind I just feel like I have an unlimited to-do list that I want to do in a day, but that's not practically possible. If I just accept that I'm doing all that I can and that is enough, then that should be fine. Because I cannot control everything, but if I can just do properly whatever I can control, that I just felt like that was very important. It makes my heart feel okay that I don't have to do everything, but as long as I do whatever is required for the day, I'm good. I don't have to stress too much.
Yep. Good one, Asta. Thank you very much. Okay, Hedy.
Hare Krishna, thank you for the talk today. It's been, really insightful. I think I just wanted to share an experience that I had of I was trying to get or like stop a bad habit or bad, I guess. And I was having a hard time and I kind of was just in a loop of being hard on myself about it. And I don't know, I guess eventually I thought to myself, okay, I don't have to do this alone. And I just really just started asking Krishna to kind of help guide me. And I don't know why I didn't think about doing that sooner, I guess. But I just like very sincerely asked. And it was really, I don't know, not that it'll take a week for everyone, but in a week, I was almost like shown kind of a way of sort of processing it and thinking through it a little differently. And I was able to kind of move past that habit, which then also helped me, sleep better. And now, so we don't have to do it alone, I guess, is not only with community, but also with asking for Krishna to help us maybe with our habits and our
Thanks,
practice.
Hedy.
Yeah.
It's so important. I'm taking it away as the highlight of my time here today. To remember that it's coming from above. It's coming from a higher power. So taking advantage of that. That's human body's built for prayer, and that's our main thing. Okay, Phil, one quick
Yeah,
takeaway.
thanks, Vash. That was just some information for you. The 1 minute mile, when you were talking about that, I had to look it up. The world record is 3 minutes 43 seconds.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Now people are doing it in faster and faster times. So we have, when we have mentorship and we notice how other people are practicing, oftentimes it helps us break barriers. Janki.
Guru Maharaj, I wanted to check when you said measure your success, like some things are easier, like if I need to wake up early, then I can write down the days, how many days I woke up early. But let's say I have something like I want to mend relationships and I want to talk in a way that I'm only saying positive things. How do you measure things like that? Like how would you?
One thing, if you're writing things down, you'll be able to go back and look at them and see how you're doing now. I keep a log, and it always helps me to go back and look. In fact, I have all of the goals and things I've been writing down for decades. And when I go back through my archives and look, and I see the progress. as I notice, oh, that used to be a thing for me. Now it's no longer a thing.
Right.
And I was trying to get to this point. So writing things down, keeping a record means you can look at it. Plus, it makes you more aware of it, especially when you write things down where you want to go. It
Yeah.
makes you even subconsciously aware you're going there. It's uncanny, really. And oftentimes people don't take advantage of this. You decide what you want, how you want to improve, and write it down. Then you have something to motivate you. Otherwise, we can be random in our lives, and that's what causes so much anxiety. When you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. And
Right.
that's that randomness that makes us feel overwhelmed. When we're very clear about which kind of tapodivyam, divine sacrifice we want to make, it's a joyful life. It's
Yeah.
so joyful to know where you're going. So that's why all those literatures are there to show us the map. Who said that about the map in the mall or something earlier? That you have to be clear about where you're going.
So writing down your goals and then setting, like measuring it would be the second step, but first step would be writing down your goals.
Yeah, I was just in these seminars over the weekend from my friend Radha Hari came over from Singapore. He runs the Art to Forum. It's basically for ultra rich people, and he teaches them, don't get crushed by your money. Make a vow that you're going to give away. Only keep what you need. You can live abundantly, keep what you need. And the rest of it, pre-dedicate it, that you're not even going to touch it. He says the people who take up that advice, they live very joyfully. So you have to have some sacrifice, tapodivyam in your life to work towards. So yeah, take as much as you can. And people who realize that's where real tastes come from, they just do it all the time. That's their whole life. And who's to stop us, right? Well, it's come to that time again, Jayam. Thank you very much for keeping us going here. And thanks, everyone, for joining from around the world. And I think we should have an appropriate goodbye from today's session. To think back to our friends in the Himalayas. The yogis who spend time in caves, when they come out, they get a few roots, fruits, and tubers. But when they see their fellow yogis, they put their arms high in the air and they say this phrase, Hari Bol, which is meant to encourage everyone to keep the vibration going. So I just thought we could try it before we go. What do you think? Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Very cool.
Thank you.
See you later, everybody.